Hey guys, so this week we have a new assignment. So let's go to Google Classroom. Okay, so this assignment is for ESL 3 and ESL 4-5. So I will open up one of the classrooms and go to classwork. Okay, so this week's assignment is called Podcast Outline Brainstorming. But before you do this assignment, you need to do last week's assignment first, called Narrative Podcasts, Stories About Real People. This assignment is really going to help you understand and do this week's assignment. So keep watching this video for the directions. So open up the Google Doc called Podcast Outline Narrative. Okay, so podcast brainstorming. So you guys, you're going to try to think about a topic that you would want to use to make your own podcast. So some of you might be still wondering, like, what is a podcast anyways? So let's find the definition of it. So podcast, a digital audio file made available on the internet for downloading to a computer or mobile device. Typically available as a series, new installments of which can be received by subscribers automatically. So it's basically kind of just like, it's a recorded like audio or like radio show. It can be about comedy, it can be funny, it can be serious, it can be about the news or politics happening. But people can, talk about any types of subjects that they want to. It could be about like a mystery. So on the iPhone, if you guys can see this, it's this purple podcast button. So, if you don't have an iPhone, other types of phones have this. But you can download and you can subscribe to whatever podcast you want to listen to. And they have different episodes. Okay, so there are many different ways to do a podcast. For this assignment, you will write and create a narrative podcast. That means you will tell a story about something that happened. Like Story Corps in This American Life from last week, you will share a story from your life or someone else's life. Your podcast outline should be a minimum of 1 page, single space. So I'll keep that in there for now. It's basically just like a box you need to complete for right now. For this project, you will be writing a podcast outline. There are some different ways you can set up your podcast. You can, 1, you can research a myth, a legend, or a suspicious happening and tell that story. You should conduct thorough research and organize your podcast with a beginning, middle, and end, followed by takeaways or lessons learned. 2, tell a story of quarantine 2020. How did it come about? How did it happen? What is your experience? What lessons have you learned? What would you want students 40, 60, even 100 years in the future to know about the COVID-19 quarantine? That number 2 might be an interesting one to do because it's happening to you right now. Or 3, tell the story of an important event in your life that has helped shaped you as a person. How did this event change you or shape you? How has it impacted your life? So was there something huge that happened to you? Many of you came from a different country, like moving here to the United States. How did that, change your life? 4, interview a family member or friend by phone or video chat and ask them to share an impactful or an important event from their life. How did it change or shape them? What do you learn from them? Or any other topic approved by Ms. Aguiar. So if there's another topic that you want to tell a story about, ask me first, okay? Okay, now I want you to complete 1 through 5 here. So this helps you start thinking about your podcast. So what is your topic? So for example, it could be My Quarantine 2020. What type of podcast will you be producing? So this could be, so if it's a narrative, you're going to tell a story, or maybe you just want to give people good information. 2, is there a narrator or host? Who will that be? You could pretend to have a celebrity one if you like. 3, will you interview anyone? Who? Where will the interview take place? So this can be anywhere. What is the title of your podcast? So for example, if you do the quarantine, again, quarantine from my house, or quarantine from Framingham, Massachusetts. Or maybe you're a dental student or you're a plumbing student, and you want to, talk about that on your podcast. Your title can have that name in it. And what is your show description? So in a few sentences, tell us what the show is about, so we want to listen to it. All right, here is a podcast show outline, so an example. So you want to make a rough outline of your podcast. So intro. So the host, for example, is Ms. Aguiar. Show description. So a weekly podcast talking about food and interviewing experts in Massachusetts. So this episode's topic, so Pepe's Pizza. So for segment 1, so maybe the first part of the podcast, I interview with Pepe Pisano, the owner and founder of the pizza place. What's his best-selling pizza or the topping? What's his best memory of owning a pizza shop? So anything crazy or interesting happening at the shop? So then segment 2, so part 2, a guest interview with Miss Kellogg, frequent pizza eater and vlogger, so a video vlogger. We'll talk about Miss Kellogg's favorite pizza toppings, Miss Kellogg's favorite pizza places, Miss Kellogg's worst pizza experience. Then to close, so you wrap it up. So think the guests, the people that you talk to, and you can tell us again what we talked about during the podcast. Then you want to say what's coming up next week. So maybe I'll talk about Brazilian bakeries. Are they delicious or amazingly delicious? I'll interview, for example, the CEO and founder of Pau Brazil, and I'll interview my husband, who is Brazilian. Okay, so that's my example. So now it's your turn. So you're going to make your outline, all right? So you'll do the intro, segment 1, segment 2, and you'll do the close. So just like I did up here, you guys do down here. And you can go back and look at these ideas, these notes that can help you. All right, so that's your assignment for this week. Just try to be creative, try to be fun. Think of a podcast and a topic that you like, that something that you're really interested in. Email me, text me, come on to Zoom if you have any questions. All right. Have a great weekend.